this question is asking us to strengthen the argument. So, okay, let's read. Editor says many candidates say that if elected, they will reduce governmental intrusion into voters' lives. Okay, but voters actually elect politicians who instead promise that the government will provide assistance. So does candidates say like, oh, I'm a candidate, elect me because I'll stay out of your lives. Me and my government will stay out of your lives. But then you see, voters actually elect politicians who instead like they don't care about this message. They want to know, well, that's great, but you, politician, will you actually help me provide assistance to my most pressing problems, whatever those may be? Healthcare, job, retirement, I don't know, daycare for kids or something. But anyway, so governmental assistance, though, costs money, and money can come only from taxes, which can be considered a form of intrusion. Thus, here's the conclusion. All these are premises. Thus, governmental intrusion to lives of voters will rarely be substantially reduced over time in democracy. Why? Now, think about this. There's a huge gap here. So we know that voters elect politicians who instead promise. So I promise I will solve your problems, and solving problems depends on having money, which comes from taxes, which is a form of intrusion. So government intrusion won't be reduced. Well, that's only if I actually do what I promise, right? You see, because what if you just elect me, and I promise I'll solve your problems, or I promise I'll finance your healthcare, which means taxing people, but then I just play Scrabble all day. Right, I actually don't do any of that stuff. In which case, I don't actually intrude. So, thus, government intrusion will rarely be reduced. No, if you just elect a bunch of inactive politicians, then yeah, government intrusion will be very much reduced. So, see, you have to. The presumption there is that you elect people because we know who voters elect. So, over time in democracy, they tell us who voters elect, right? So, these people who are elected are the ones that are getting into government. But then I promise to do these things, which entail intrusion. But if I don't do what I promise, if I don't do what I promised to do, then none of this stuff matters. So that's the most pressing assumption that needs to be addressed. A says politicians who win their elections usually keep their campaign promises, and there you go. Right? If that's the case, then yeah, then all this stuff happens, and governmental intrusion will not be reduced. B says politicians never promise what they really intend to do in office. Okay, but that seems to weaken the argument, right? So if that means if I never promise what I actually intend to do, that means all the things that I say that I promise to do are for sure the things I won't do. Which then in that case, maybe I will just play Scrabble because I'm not going to promise like you elect me, I'm going to play games all day. Right? C says the most common problems people have are financial problems. Okay, that's fine. Like maybe I'll help you solve your financial problems, right? Cut taxes or I don't know, financial. I don't know what financial could be a whole horde of things. D says governmental intrusion to lives of voters are no more burdensome in non-democratic. I don't care about the comparative between democratic and non-democratic societies. It could go one way or the other way or whatever. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with our argument. E says politicians who promise to do what they actually believe ought to be done are rarely elected. So the ones who promise to do something that they really deeply believe in, these are the people that are not getting elected. So what does that mean? So the people who promise to do other stuff, so I am someone who does get elected. So that means my promise to you is not what I actually believe. It's just some version of it that I think you would like to hear. Okay, that's fine. And if I do what I promise to do, the version of it that you like to hear, doesn't that entail all these things anyway? So see, that's like whether or not my promise is a reflection of what I truly believe has nothing to do with argument. But E is of course a very psychologically attractive answer to it. You're reading, you're lamenting the fact that politicians who are true, who are genuine, they don't actually get elected, and you I don't know, choose it or something. But hopefully you see that it doesn't actually help the premises support the conclusion.